It's time to bring you yet another amazing episode. And now, welcome your host.
Good to have you on the show. This is Lifegiving by Omobola Stephen. I'm the host, Omobola Stephen. On Lifegiving by Omobola Stephen, we explore topics on the personal development and self-improvement because we've come to realize with the passage of time the importance of embracing personal development and self-improvement along the course of our lives. And so when we do that, we come to realize that we find ourselves along the way, and in finding ourselves, we realize that there's so much innate potentials and also possibilities that life has in store for us. Now, personal development and self-improvement is a lifelong process that you and I must embrace and need to embrace in order for us to move from where we are to where we need to be as it was originally meant to be right from the outset. Now, personal development and self-improvement bounties and benefits doesn't happen overnight. You and I need to intentionally cultivate the habit of looking inwards and searching for the right questions, and knowing fully well that when you search for the right questions, the right answers will always show up. And now, as you look inwards, you realize that you have so much innate potentials and possibilities within that can make you to become who you are truly meant to be. And now today we will be focusing on personal development and self-improvement as it's our core topic on Library by Omobola Stephen. But really we'll be talking about health and wellness. And I have Lynda Herbert, who is a health and wellness teacher. She's the speaker, a practitioner, coach, and author on the show with me today. Welcome to Library Lift, Lynda.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Thanks for joining me on the show. Looking forward to our time as we explore this topic about our body and how we can learn to listen to what it is telling us. Absolutely, I am loving the topic because we are in such a very challenging and changing times, and also most of us are leading a busy lives that we forget that our body needs us to focus on it. So I really, really appreciate this topic and also your core expertise in this area. So how can we self-reflection and examination, how can it lead to truth-oriented health? Or let me rephrase my question. How can self-reflection and self-examination, how can it lead to truth-oriented health?
That's a great question. And that's where each one of us must begin. And it's a lifelong process. I love how you said that. But there is a point in our life where each one of us has to stop and pause. And the reason why we want to do that is because we don't naturally pay attention to what's going on inside of us. And so over time, what happens is we live disconnected from important parts of ourselves. And so what we need to do when we usually, what happens is something shows up in our lives. Something's off. We're feeling something's bothering us in our body. Something is causing us. We have to stop. And so that's when we need to do the self. We need to begin with curiosity and compassion, self-reflection, self-examination and reflection. And so it's really a beautiful thing, a beautiful experience to do with yourself. So often we don't like it because it feels unproductive, and it's the exact opposite. It is the most productive thing you can do is take time for reflection. And if you've never done it, you might have to take a longer period of true reflection on what you do. And I like how you said we have to ask ourselves questions. So the examination part, the way that we do that reflection is we begin to look at ourselves and ask ourselves questions, because oftentimes we don't even know the reason why we're feeling the way we're feeling. We don't know even why we're living the way we're living. It just has become such a habit. So we have to ask ourselves those questions so that we can even begin to understand what's going on inside of ourselves. And so sometimes we don't even know what questions to ask. And so we just have to take the layers off to get to the truth within ourselves. And truth is so freeing. And without judgment, there's no judgment.
So right, and you mentioned disconnection. So when disconnection happens in this scenario, what are some of the signs that we need to watch out for?
Well, I think they're physically, they're physical disconnections, there's emotional, we're having mental, emotional, um, uh, uh, conflict. We're feeling it within. We're feeling a lack of focus. We're feeling some anxiety, scattered thinking. Um, and then we're beginning again, our body, it's for women, oftentimes it shows up with uh, fatigue, low energy. Um, it can be autoimmune. So many women these days struggle with autoimmune symptoms and disease. And so that's how it shows up, headaches, uh, insomnia. And so we need to get to the root of those causes. And again, it's going to include emotions, repressed emotions, or some, other things that we are doing without realizing that we're dismissing our own voice. We're not listening to our own voice. We need to get to the reason why, because our body is so intelligent. It's always speaking to us, but we're just not listening to the whispers. And then become the cries, the screams. And that's when we have to stop. And we have to take off the layers and get to the point of, why are we not listening to our own voice, our own bodies?
But Lynda, I think that's a very deep work that we need to do, really, because we talk about listening to our body, and now most of us, we are leading busy lives. So I wonder, how can we begin to position ourselves to know that, oh, our body is speaking to us, and how can we really know that we are paying full attention to what the body is saying, or we are not simply following our emotions or our feelings?
Well, that's really important. It's a good question. And I think that our emotions are important, but we need to get to some of the deeper ones. And so, all I can say is that it starts with slowing down. And, most of us just want to race through life and do everything that we think we can do and be productive, because that's what feels happy and successful to us. And so we kind of have to shift our thinking. We have to get a little bit more honest with ourselves. I believe this all begins with honesty. And that means we're going to decide that we're going to stop and listen to what's going on inside of us. And we don't have to do it all right away, but um, I'm making sure, I want to make sure I'm answering your question correctly. But sometimes people don't know how to do that because they're in such a rush. And so starting with deep breathing, I would say the best way for people to start is begin to let yourself sit still and breathe. Just breathe. And once you learn to be still, you'll learn to notice some of the things that are kind of coming up to the surface for you. And a lot of people want to run away from those things because they feel scary and uncomfortable. And those are the very things that we need to pay attention to in order to get truly healthy. We're looking for an inward truth. Our mind, our body, our spirit, our soul, they're all working together. And so that's how it begins, is learning how to be still. So I walk people through that with my book, because I understand that is not easy for some people. And so it's being able to slow down your central nervous system with some deep breathing, taking out your journal, writing down, and you don't have to do that. That can come with time, but just letting yourself pause and listen. What is my physical body feeling like right now? And, doing a body scan. And I walk through that in my book. And then beginning to, well, what's going on inside of my heart? What is a need I'm having right now? And so it's asking yourself questions, and then really getting honest with yourself about what gives me energy and what drains me of my energy. so that you know the choices that you're making and the results of those choices, what they're doing for you or what they're doing that hurt you. And so this is a process, but it is a freeing process. And it helps empower us because then we begin to own our body and to own everything about us, know who we are. And again, there's no judgment. We're not trying to get perfect. We're just trying to get to a place where we understand how our own body works. So that's the beginning.
Really, thanks for sharing that with my audience, Linda. Now, to the ever busy sit-at-home moms or the busy career woman out there who are just simply trying to get out of this rut, ever so busy, ever so demanding, and facing the challenges of motherhood, parenting, the career, personal life. What's your own take on how they can begin to inculcate healthy lifestyles in order for them to be able to get out of this rut, and also for them to be able to pay attention, good attention to their body?
I love that. And that is where my heart is. Because I would say when I was 35, I was doing some good things, but I was doing some things that were um, not healthy for me, trying to maintain. Started a Diet Coke habit, just for an example. That was Diet Coke was a big habit of mine to get me through after I had my third child and was done nursing her. That was just my way of getting through my day. And I did do some exercise. I did do, some good nutrition, but I didn't understand how much I was hurting my own adrenal glands. And so I think, and I address that in my book. I address women. I have three daughters, one daughter-in-law and two daughters, and they all have three children, and they're all in their early 30s. And I see how busy their life is. But I think that even if you just take 20 minutes a day to really look at you and invest in you. And you have to make yourself a priority. I wish someone had explained to me and modeled to me that investment in myself was going to quadruple the investment in my children because what they need is a healthy mother, a naturally energized mother, an honest mother. And so that means we're going to have to carve out some time in our day and we're going to have to establish some habits in our life to for good self-care. I think some women think that self-care is selfishness, and it's not at all. It's the exact opposite. Self-care keeps you from being selfish because you have more of a full cup. So each mother's different. You have to find what fills your cup and be honest with yourself about your own habits. What are you doing to try to get through your day? But you're going to have days like that. There's never any judgment that isn't healthy for you, that's hurting you. And then what are you doing to get through your day that's really empowering you and helping you be truly the person that you want to do? So for moms, it's harder to find the time, but it's even more important because of you're also training your children and they're watching you.
Absolutely, that's very important. The children are watching us. But really, how can we just escape from this prison that we find ourselves? Now, that's a question that I'm asking in my head at this time. But really, you suggested that we follow the strength approach. I mean, STRENGTH, the strength
Yeah.
approach in realigning our lifestyles with our core values and beliefs. So I'd like us to talk about our lifestyle with our core values. How can we begin to optimize this strategy?
Such a great question. So we need to get in alignment. And when I say alignment, I mean we all need to get clarity. And clarity is a continual, it's on a we're never gonna, we're always striving for clarity. But when we're striving for it, we're gonna get it. And so we want clarity on our values. What what are my core beliefs and what are my core values? Because honestly, when we operate from that place, when we know what they are, and we have to know them. Most of us have them. Some of us don't really know what they are, but we need to know our core beliefs and our core values. And And then we want to align our lifestyle with those core beliefs and values. And so if we believe that we are deeply known and fully loved, fully known, deeply loved, and accepted just the way we are, then that is going to free us from overperforming or people pleasing or trying to meet all of our children's needs or trying to find our needs met through some other way that will never meet them. And so I know this is right down to the nitty gritty, but that's where we start. And we might not have that answer. We might not know all of that, but that's where we get started is with our core beliefs and our core values. And then we try to align our daily lifestyle habits. And these habits are science-backed. I use the acrostic strength because these are all science-backed, powerfully, just they powerfully work. So there's a ton of research that's been done on them and they work. They're simple lifestyle habits that we have to implement into our lifestyle. And so they keep you focused. Those are things that you know that you need to do and incorporate into your life every day. So I lay out in the book each habit, each letter of strength. So I use the acrostic strength to help you remember, how am I doing? Each one is a chapter and each represents a lifestyle habit that is important to integrate into our lives. And if we are integrating them and internalizing these habits, we're going to be living a strong, healthy life from the inside out.
And now, moving away from the science-backed research, which you just mentioned earlier, I'd like us to just move to spirituality and also focus in our body because they all complement each other, body, soul, and
They do.
spirit. So is there anything as dismissing or neglecting our body's intuitive voice that signals or is speaking to us at a particular point in time? Or really, can we talk can you share key talking points that can help us in this regard when this development is showing up?
Okay, so the key points are that when we are not listening to our own voice, that is about as bad as it gets for us because we're denying who we were designed to be, who God designed us to be. He gave each one of us a way that to express who we are, to protect ourselves, and to use our gifts to make others' lives better. And so we have to know our own voice, and that can be a process. And so I think that what helped me a lot, I believe in the power of the Bible, but that is a strong sense of where I gain my sense of truth and wisdom. And again, it's amazing to me how science and Bible go hand in hand. Everything that's written, that's expressed in the Bible is so proven through science. And so that is just super powerful to me. And so there's a scripture that really spoke to me in Psalms. And the psalmist was expressing that to God, you delight in truth in my inward being, and you teach me wisdom in my secret heart. And so that really spoke to me that truth in our inward being means truth in our cells, our cellular being, our emotional being, our mental being, and our spiritual being. And that means that, and we need to be familiar with those places inside of ourselves, because that's where all of our behavior comes from. And our body's way of interacting with the world, it starts at a cellular level. And being a nurse, I've just combined all of this into understanding true health. It's all parts of ourselves living in a place of an alignment with truth from who we are and how we were designed to live.
Thank you, Lynda Lee, for sharing your thoughts on the show. But I'd like us to talk about self-awareness. Part of what we also talk in identifying as self-worth. Self-awareness is also very important in this regard. So how can self-awareness, how can it help us in knowing what our body is telling us at a particular point in time?
I love that question. I mean, I just absolutely love your questions because this is exactly what I am trying to teach people is you have the power over anyone else to make your body healthy if you just listen. So self-awareness is huge to live a healthy, vibrant life. And it begins with if you can just begin by noticing your breath. Is my breath shallow? And then beginning to know, or is it full and relaxed? And then you can check your jaw. Is it tight or is it relaxed? Check your shoulders. Are they tight or relaxed? Check your heartbeat. Is your heart pounding? Your gut. Are you bloated? Are you uncomfortable? Are you feeling nervous? Butterflies? So our body's always helping us. And what I try to help people understand is your central nervous system is key to understanding. So I walk people through how to understand their sympathetic and their parasympathetic nervous system. And you have the power all day to shift from fight or flight, your sympathetic, into rest and restore, your parasympathetic. We're designed to live. We're designed to live the majority of our time in rest and restore. Our cells are healthy. Um, we're living in vitality. But what happens when we're living in fight or flight or the sympathetic state and we're unaware of our central nervous system? That's what happens to people. They don't even know that they're going into fight or flight all day. And then their cells are really feeling chaotic. So there's a lot of inflammation going on. And that's why people get high blood pressure and have anxiety problems, have trouble sleeping. So it begins with paying attention to those things. And then you begin to notice some of your habits and some of your emotions. And that's where people can identify, oh, I'm being a people pleaser because I'm afraid of being rejected. That's when I get my heart starts pounding. Or what brings me fear? What makes me feel anxious is the possibility of being rejected. Oh, well, what's underneath that? Well, I'm afraid of being rejected, so I'm pleasing people. So underneath that is a lack of worth, a lack of your own value for who you are. And so again, when you start from there, but you start with the superficial, developing the self-awareness, and then get to the root, which is, well, of course I'm valuable. Of course I'm worth my own investment. I don't need people to agree with me and please them in order to be worthy. I'm not even being myself, and that's not even loving. So I'm just using that as an example of how we try to survive instead of thrive, and we're letting ourselves be governed by something that isn't true.
Now, your book, Strong, Sane, and Sassy, unveils some selling truths that we need to know about our whole body. Can you just tell me a bit about what your book is telling us?
About the truth?
Yes, really, your book, Strong, Sane, and Sassy, it unveils some truths, some
Right,
selling truths that we need to know about our whole body. So I need you to tell me
right.
more.
Okay. Well, I think the number one truth that I've already kind of talked about is that your body speaks to you. If you learn how to listen, you have to learn, and that's the essence strength. Sense your body's signals and search your soul. That's the foundation for getting into true health, is learning how to listen to what your body is telling you. And it's a process, but it's a beautiful. And our bodies are, the truth is that our bodies are so intelligent. And then we need to have natural ways that we support our body. So um, I outline in each chapter when you are feeling anxious, when you are having tight muscles, when you are having gut issues, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, whatever it is that you're having, I do put at the end of each chapter natural resources. And a lot of those are things that we can use within our own biology. For example, just deep breathing, learning how to deep breathe correctly. And I share that can move you out of fight or flight. The movement, the power of movement, the, let's see, the first E in strength is exercise and move. And the truth is, our body is meant to be moved. The more we move, the better we are. We have more dopamine, more serotonin, less anxiety, less depression. And so I lay out how to incorporate movement into your life. And then we talk about training your thoughts. The truth is that we have a mind and we do not protect our mind nearly as well as we should. Our mind is our most valuable part of who we are because our thoughts impact every single cell in our body and they impact our emotions. Everything starts with a thought. And so I lay out how to train your thoughts. Train your thoughts well, that they make them healthy and good. And it's a process, but we have to train ourselves and be intentional. And so that's the truth. And then rest, the R in rest and strength is rest and restore. We have to learn how to incorporate rest into our lifestyle because that is when we understand what's going on inside of us, when we give our body a chance and our mind to truly repair, rejuvenate, restore. And, when you think of rest, people go, oh, I don't want to lay down. Well, that's not what rest is. Sleep is important. Sleep is hugely important. And I talk about sleep in the body and how important that is. But rest can involve all kinds of ways. It can be playing. Whatever it is that makes you feel alive, that takes away that kind of gives you time to just be free and be creative. Because that's such a beautiful place in our mind. We can't worry and be creative at the same time. So resting is truly an important aspect. That's truth. That's the truth of being healthy. And we know, we all know about nutrition, but people don't understand the power of nutrition. Power of food is medicine. Food is medicine. It's the best medicine for our body. And so I lay that out, the truth of being in nature, using our body, eating whole foods. And then I go on to talk about our tribe. The T is time with community, time with others. The most important aspect of health, studies have shown it. There was a Harvard study that lasted for 85 years. They followed people and found out everything about their life, what they did, what they didn't do. And so they got all these studies together. And the healthiest and happiest people over their lifetime, it had nothing to do with how much they exercised or how much money they made or how well they did at their job. It was all about their relationships. It was the quality of their relationships. The unhealthiest people were lonely and had a lot of regrets about not making their relationships more of a priority. So we can't thrive, we can't be in our best health without having rich relational interactions with others. And we need that face to face. We can't get it through texting on our phones or scrolling through social media. It makes us feel even more lonely. So that's the truth. I'm trying to tell people the truth about real health.
Brilliant. Thanks for that. So help us, God, indeed. That's some tough work you've highlighted there, but really, absolutely, that's what is expected for us, even as we are looking forward to really having a fulfilling life at the end of the day. I think our body needs to have or receive the full attention that it needs. Really, thank you once again, Lynda. Do you have any exciting news that you'd like to share with the audience? Perhaps a super big project that you think the audience of the podcast can benefit from? You can share that if you have any.
Thank you so much. I would say, the biggest projects for me, two of my biggest projects are, I love coaching women. Like I love, I'm a holistic nutrition, I'm not a nutrition, I'm an RN, But what I do is I take every aspect of a woman's life and walk alongside them on their health and wellness journey. And I have seen so much progress and so many changes, women coming off of antidepressants and sleeping pills. And when they really learn these principles, I mean, that is truly my biggest passion, is people learning and understanding the truth about their own bodies and what they can do to have the true health that they so much want, and then live the fulfilling life. So that is my biggest project. I would love to tell people where they can reach me. I have all kinds of resources available to people, and I'm just growing. I'm just growing I'm growing in this, and I'm getting more and more clients, and it's what energizes me. So I would love to find out, have a conversation with women and find out what their needs are, and help them create a pathway to being fully the person from the inside out that they were designed to be, and live out that healthy life.
Brilliant. Good to know. Thanks for sharing that. Do you have any parting word you'd like to pass across to the audience, and also your social media handles and your website, so they can connect and learn more about you and what you've been up to?
Well, I would say that the way that you talk to yourself, this would be the closing words, the narrative, like you want to be aware of your own narrative in your own mind. That's one of the best self-awareness habits you can be developing. And you want to shift out of any which we all have, negative, condemning thoughts towards yourself. And instead, talk to yourself with compassion and with grace and with kindness, and understand yourself when you're having a hard day. Because our narrative and the way we talk to ourselves, because it's such an impact on our whole health and well-being. And the kinder we are, the healthier. The kinder we are to ourselves, the healthier we are. You can find me on Instagram. It's Lynda, Lynda _ My last name is Hebert. It's spelled HEBERT _. So Lynda _Hebert _. And I have a website where you can find about everything I do. And it's Lynda Hebert, same thing, .com. Or it's Wild About Wellness.
Right. Thanks for sharing that with my audience. And now I've been having a great time exploring this topic with Lynda Herbert as we explore the topic on how our body, very important topic for discussion, our body. Now we can begin to fine tune and learn to listen to what it is communicating to us per time. Thank you, Lynda. You're an expert in this regard. You're a health and wellness teacher, speaker, practitioner, coach, and author. You also are a yoga instructor. Thank you for sharing your valuable time, and also sharing your expertise and also your personal experience to the audience of Library by Omobola Stephen. We wish you best of luck in all of the projects that you embark upon now, and also in the nearest future.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate being here. It's been great.
Thank you once again. Now, if you'd like to catch up with any missed episodes of the show, you can do so on any podcast distribution platforms or any podcast cross-promotion platforms you bump into online. And I guarantee you, you're going to have a super great time as you listen to disruptive yet constructive mindshift conversations on topics and subjects that are under personal development and self-improvement topics that is going to transform your life and give you a mind shift, moving you from where you are to where you really need to be in life. Thank you once again, Lynda. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
All right. It's been a Live Well Lived, and I'm Omobola Stephen. Thanks for joining me on the show. Talk to you soon.
Okay.